trying to reach for greatness, man. It's a long road. I'm not saying I'm great now, but I'm saying I could be one day if I keep sticking to this grind. You know what I'm talking about? It's easier to think you famous. It's harder to work for greatness. These kids nowadays give prevalence to the latest.
All right, welcome everybody to the J Team Brand Podcast. What up? Josh Pizarro here, Douglas Elliman.
Janet Tamadiah, Douglas Elliman.
And together we make the J Team Brand. And you know, I guess you can call this the introduction episode. So I just kind of wanted to get into a little bit of, you know, our origins, background, and just, you know, kind of why we got into real estate, you know, growing up, you know, what it takes, I guess, to get into real estate. So, you know, just a little bit of everything. Let's start with you. So I kind of just guess you can tell the audience, you know, where you're from, how you start into real estate, and a little bit about your backstory.
Well, let's start with this. Keep in mind, we don't have all the answers.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But we definitely want to be able to. We've been in the business for a few years now, and we definitely want to give our insight and what the struggles that we've gone through in this business.
Sharing the journey is pretty much what this is about.
Exactly. So, I mean, well, basically, I guess I'll start off. I am born and raised in Maryland. My nationality and family descent is Nigerian. So I'm first generation Nigerian.
Gotcha.
Or, sorry, I should say American. So born and raised in Maryland, Montgomery County, from the suburbs. I went to school, to college in Baltimore. And right after college,
what college was that?
Oh, I went to Morgan State University.
Morgan State,
so
nice.
Basically, it's an HBCU. Shout out to my alma mater. I
don't know none of this college talk. I'm a college dropout, guys. Yes, community college dropout at that.
But college was a good experience for me. I mean, I'm glad I did it. I'm not really a school person. I'm not really into school, but you know, I did it for my mama. So, you know, shout out to her.
Funny you say that. It's funny you say that because a lot of people do go to college for their parents too. It's weird enough.
No, definitely. Like, had I known then what I know now, I would have just right after high school just started real estate. But I also was living in Maryland, so I was still trying to figure things out, as every kid is, right after high school.
Absolutely.
So I went to college, graduated, and then I tried to pursue a second degree because I was a bio major, so I was a science geek. Not meant to be in real estate at all.
Bio major. Wow.
Right, yeah.
That's like totally west.
Yeah, completely. Like I was scheduled to be like a doctor or a nurse or whatever.
Oh wow, nice.
So anyway, I applied for colleges here in New York to basically go to nursing school. Got into a school, moved out to New York. Probably shouldn't have done it at the time, but I did it anyway.
Hey, you took the leap. Nothing wrong with that.
And thought that's what I wanted to do. It didn't work out. I mean, long and short of it, basically, I failed out of nursing school. That's what happened. Like, I was just uninterested. It wasn't for me. And aside from, you know, wasting money in school, I really should have just stopped at my first degree and just pursue what I wanted to. So in between that, then I kind of was like, I was always interested in real estate, but never thought, I shied away from business because that's kind of like my family thing. Like my mom owned a business, my uncles owned businesses, I worked in their business, and I was just kind of like, oh no, I don't want to do business.
Why would, I mean, that's
I don't know. I was
strange.
just trying to get away from like the family thing. You know what I mean?
It's like being a junior almost.
Like rebelling.
Yeah,
it was like rebelling. But, you know, ultimately I think I should have just gone on that path because I've always been independent. I never liked to I never liked people telling me what to do. Like, I'm all about like working hard because I've worked since I was 15. But when it comes to like somebody like ordering me and telling me what to do and having a boss, that was always like a kind of like an issue for me. So I battled with that. And anybody that knows me knows I don't like being told what to do. Like, I will actually like rebel against that.
Yeah.
And you know, like,
I know the feeling. Yeah. I know the feeling very well. Trust me, I get it.
So yeah, that's when I get like real aggressive when that starts. But anyway, so I basically failed out of nursing school, and right after that is when I decided, you know what, F it, I'm just gonna go get my real estate license. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, found the classes on Groupon.
And what 2000 and?
This was 2014.
2014?
I want to say I went for my classes.
Okay.
Yeah, towards the end of 2014. Because 15, 16, 17.
Yeah, it's about 3 years.
2015.
14, 15, because you have a year 14, more 15, than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had trials and tribulations. Like as soon as I got my license, I immediately went to like the smallest like real estate company. I don't even know if it's still around today, but you know, shout out to, you know, Russell Williams Real Estate. You know, they first started me off. And I used to always say like Russell Simmons. I don't know why I always got it confused. But anyway, Russell Williams Real Estate, that was my first real estate company. And I went there because, you know, they basically sold me. I really didn't have to put any of my own personal funds into this. Like I didn't have any fees or anything like that. And the principal he was a really good guy. You know, I think he really just wanted to have a great team. So like I said, shout out to him. But so that was my first.
They gave you your first gig.
Yeah, that was my first thing. However, it was a small kind of like, it was a very small company.
Did you learn anything from them? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, if I'm being honest, no.
No,
No,
it's all right.
I kind of like, you know.
I feel the same way in my first one.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I kind of had
around.
to like just figure it out. And
Yeah.
I did no deals I did one deal. And that deal, you know, full circle ended up coming to bite me in the ass. And we can, you know, talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah. I do remember
But,
that. I do. Wow,
yeah,
that was
like
a few years back.
that deal
Yep.
ended up coming to bite me in the ass. And it was, but, you know, we got through that.
clear through.
So then after that, then I went to Highline Residential, which is where I met Josh. And I think it was like the first or second like day in training. I was kind of like, the whole mentality going into real estate was like, oh, I'm going to do this independently. Like I'm not going to be in a partnership. I'm not going to be in a team, nothing like that. Like I can do this. Cause I don't like groups. Like whatever. So then I remember Josh was talking like numbers, and I'm not a math person. I don't do math. It's not my thing. Like I still count with my fingers and it's fine. Like I'm okay with it. So I remember like, and it just, I remember that. And then also like the passion, like everybody else was in it
Hungry.
to try and like just make quick money. But I don't think they realized like what they were really getting into. So it was kind of like hunger, like he was talking about, like how like he had just like basically gave up like post office gig. I think.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that
like,
for
just
sure.
Stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's where I met Josh, and then from there we kind of just like
It clicked. It
established a
worked.
partnership, and it's been like that since then. I think that was what 2015.
2015. That's when I started my career.
Yeah.
Was 2000
So-
end of 2014, 15.
Yeah, so that, and then we've been together, a partnership since
Since-
about 3 years now.
3 years now.
So yeah, that's pretty
Working up
much
the way to
short-
ranks.
Yeah,
that's the short version.
of my story.
So like I always find your story intriguing. I know you, obviously our audience doesn't know you, but you know, coming from a real estate background and you touching on that, like you're not really being interested in business, kind of going the whole bio way, college and everything that way. Like do you have some, like getting into real estate, do you now reach out to the family members that were, in entrepreneurship and owned businesses? Because you know how big it is now, as far as real estate and being an entrepreneur in this game is.
I mean, I definitely
It's
talk
big.
to my family's probably like the closest thing to me. Like my brother, I talk to him all the time about business, and that's what most of our arguments I feel like stem from. Other than like family life,
Yeah.
but like
Healthy
my
arguments,
younger-
though.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
healthy.
Like, well, it's my
I mean, it's
little brother.
business.
It's
I
my
get
little
it.
brother. We're both like when it comes to
Passionate.
like our family, we're both strong-headed. We're Nigerians, so that Nigerians
Gotcha.
we like to be loud. We yell a lot. Whatever. But but yeah, like my little brother, like I and hopefully we can get him on the show one of these days. But
Definitely.
he's been always, I think, the one of us that has been very like business oriented. Like he's just a very smart individual, and he's always thinking about like innovative ways to like kind of like push business forward. So I always talk to him about real estate. He basically is like the mirror of you. Like he tells me the same things that you do. He knows that I'm
Smart man.
Yeah. I mean, look, he is. He knows that I'm pretty conservative. Like I really don't put myself out there.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, not everybody's that
super,
way.
Like to myself.
It took me a long time to get that way.
Yeah.
It really, really did.
And I don't necessarily like agree that people have to do that, but I think everybody can do it in their own way, and I'm still trying to figure out what my way is. But yeah, as far as like business, I definitely talk to my family a lot about that, and kind of like get their insight. My brother, he like has his own like business kind of thing, and then my sister, she works in she's a PR fashion PR person. So you know, she has like a different like realm. that
Yeah,
she
it's a
goes to.
different different industry.
But yeah, as far as like friends, you know, colleagues, yes, but mostly my family. I would say like I go to them for like business advice, if anything.
No, that's
especially
awesome.
my mom. My mom's, I mean, she probably knows everything there is to like know about, you know, getting through like the ringer. So
yeah. So now talking about you know, real estate and everything else like that, because I've always, the reason why we created this J Team Brand podcast, and I kind of want to put this out there, especially for our audiences, outside of, you know, hearing other people's stories, I want them to hear the origins and not think that, hey, you have to know real estate or just know, you know, certain things in order to get into entrepreneurship. You can
Right.
kind of, you know, dabble, learn in it,
Fail.
and fail.
Fail, which is
Yeah,
the
never
biggest
be
thing.
scared to fail. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. And what advice would you give a 9-to-5er out there that's like right at the edge? Because, you know, again, you kind of walked away from, you know, I guess a 9-to-5 job
Yeah.
before jumping into real estate.
Well, let's get to that because actually I didn't walk away. I
Well-
was actually laid off.
Okay.
But at the time we were working together.
Yeah,
so I was basically trying to juggle being a real estate agent and doing a 9-to-5, which let me tell you right now, impossible. Don't do it.
Hard.
I tried it. It doesn't work. Your business will suffer. And you know,
Now learn it. Learn it.
Yeah, learn it. Yeah,
Whatever,
learn it,
whatever
but,
entrepreneurship game or industry they're in.
yeah, you can't
So
do
you
a
just
9 to
gotta
5.
learn it.
Like it's different if you're like a server or a bartender. Like I bartend at night, you know, whatever. I gotta be able to like make waves, but
Absolutely.
and pay bills. But you know, as a side hustle. But yeah, a 9 to 5, like actually having to like clock in, clock out, whatever. It's just not gonna work.
Yeah, it's rough.
So yeah, I definitely would not suggest it. I would wait till you are financially stable enough, or
Agreed.
where you can do something that's a little bit more flexible to get into this business. Trust me.
Cutting costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
And trust me, like half of us in this industry that are under 5 years are all working second jobs. Unless
Absolutely.
you have some
Very
kind of
hungry.
income or money coming in from family.
Agreed.
You're working a second job. So don't let people fool you and think that it's all peaches and cream, because it's not.
And please, $1 million listing, guys. There's big flashy commissions.
Hey.
Not as real as, you know, but they're
Hey,
not as
look,
easy
you
to
know,
get
but
those.
You gotta give it up to those guys, because those
No,
guys also
100%.
have over a decade, if not, you know, more under their belt.
But I
right?
just want people to understand that their audience,
Yeah.
you know, it's not that
Exactly.
easy. These guys have backstories as well. And like you said, you know, we even look up to these guys.
So
but
don't
at the
just
same
go
time,
off of like what you see on
Yeah,
the screen. Like
agreed.
It's hard work. So, but yeah, it's, you know, we make it happen.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah, I mean, to you, like you also have an interesting story, because I mean, you basically did the 9 to 5.
Oh man,
for
10 years.
right?
10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my backstory is, you know, I pretty much born and raised Lower East Side, New York City, rough neighborhood. I was born in
So
82.
I've
I
heard.
don't, you know, I'm 35 years old. I may not look it. And, you know, sometimes when I speak on these stories, people don't realize it. But like, you know, growing up in the Lower East Side wasn't always the easiest. You know, at the end of the day, you know, 90s and 80s was rough, crime ridden. You're almost forced into a somewhat of a bubble.
Right.
You know, like you couldn't pass certain blocks and et cetera. So now it's just an amazing place.
Right. Definitely very different now.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, and getting into real estate and my backstory, you know, as far as like coming from, you know, the post office 10 years and, you know, walking away from that. And I didn't know that real estate was going to be my path. I kind of jumped into real estate out of desperation. I was extremely unhappy where I was. I mean, it took me years because at 22 years old, you know, I started at the post office. And when you're offering a 22-year-old $60,000 to deliver
Like,
mail,
that's like a gold
and
mine.
mind you, guys, this is 22 years old 13 years ago.
Right,
So $60,000
Was
a
a
year
lot of
is
money.
almost, in essence, what six figures is now at 22 years old.
Right.
And that doesn't even count, like, you know, overtime or anything like that. So I got content, complacent, comfortable. And, you know, also having a child at a very young age, 19 years old, I was a father. So, you know, I had to find myself very fast. And I saw myself having to, in essence, grow up fast as well. You know, I graduated from high school at 17 from Chelsea Vocational High School downtown as well. And, you know, going into college, I took liberal arts. kind of like the cop out. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Well, it's not a cop out, but you know.
I mean, I
it's for people that are
guess.
trying to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah,
Okay,
in
I
essence.
say if you don't know what you want to do, liberal arts or some type of, you know.
But listen, it got me to where I am
like
now.
that. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's a
And
smart move.
absolutely. And you know, I grew up in a 2-parent home until I was 16. So you know, I had my mom and my dad. My dad worked a lot. My mom, for the most part, was the house mom. She took care of kids on the side. But yeah, for the most part, I seen my dad hustle most of my life, and you know, I started having to reverse engineer myself when I got into real estate. And when I say reverse engineer, I mean, like, you know, what am I good at? What am I bad at? And being humble about it. Like I told you before, I suck at paperwork. You know.
This is when we first met.
Yeah, when we first
You didn't
met.
have to tell me.
Yeah,
I
it
knew.
was just really, you know, my organization skills were really bad. But my numbers game was on point. And, you know, doing a little digging in my own homework, I guess, my own reverse psychology, I was pretty much good at selling. You know what I mean? My first 2 weeks in the game, I don't know if you remember, but, you know, I closed a deal it was like about a $3,000 apartment, you know, and it kind of gave me confidence to be like, all right, I can do this. My second deal was like a penthouse, you know, and I was like, you know, puffing my chest a little bit, maybe a little too early in the game, because then you hit those, you know, rough moments and
Right.
it's quiet and you're like, holy shit, I'm not as good as I thought I was. But, you know, it did give me the confidence to keep going. And then, you know, doing the homework on myself, like, you know, even as a kid, I used to hustle. And, like, I think about that. I'm like, you know, I used to buy Scholastic News books. And I say this all the
Ooh,
time.
that's a throwback.
Yeah, try to say that 5 times straight. Really hard. But, yeah, I used to buy their books and trace their airplanes and cars and then sell them back, color them, trace them, color them, sell them back to students in my class. And, you know, you don't really think of nothing like that because, like, you're only looking for, like, a quarter, 15 cents, and it's, like, whatever the fuck it is, you know, just to get some candy. But then you look at it now, if you see a kid doing that now, you're like, holy shit, this little kid's a hustler.
Right.
Like, now there's a platform for that. You know what I mean? And, but, you know, again, you know, just reverse engineering and knowing what you're good at and being self-aware is definitely a major key in, you know, entrepreneurship. Real estate has taught me so much, and just overall entrepreneurship is.
And obviously building on your failures too.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think we've
kidding me?
obviously had a lot more failures than we've had successes, and
100%.
And we're still working, so we're gonna have a lot more. because
Yeah, I
as
mean,
we
but
get-
again, this
as
is
we
the
grow,
reason for
you
this.
know.
This is the reason for this. This is the reason why we're recording these podcasts. This is the reason why we're sharing our stories. This is the reason why we're, you know, sharing our backgrounds and everything, because we want people to see that, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever platform we are going to be on, they can see that, wow, these people worked for it. They worked their asses off for it, and they got it. And in essence, yeah, I want to aspire to inspire. You know, aspire to inspire, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's definitely, you know, that's something that I love it. You know, I enjoy when people tell me, like, you know, you're working hard, I see you, and stuff like that. Like, it's cool to me. And, you know, with that, you also get the people that kind of just ignore it and fuck it, you know, don't give a shit, which is cool.
Hey, I don't need any recognition from anybody but my
No,
family and friends,
definitely not.
right?
I don't
So,
need it.
mean,
I don't need
you
it, but it's
know.
cool to feed off of. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, but you know
I mean?
what? But you know what though? You know, I always say not everybody. I was just telling this to my sister. Not everybody's gonna be for you, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone, and this is just real shit. There's someone out there right now preying on our downfall. I mean,
100%.
that's just the reality. But you can't even think about that in this business, like in life. Period.
Almost tunnel vision,
You gotta
yeah.
be for you, and as long as you're for you, like, and you believe in what you're doing, that's all that matters. I remember when I first started this business, and I mean, I think that was the first 2 years were probably like the brokest I've ever been in my life. Anybody that knows me knows I've always worked a job or two. I like nice things. I've always been able to afford nice things
Agreed.
for myself, you know, even in college, like not on some like stunning type of, situation.
Oh no, I was stunning.
But like,
I was
I mean,
fronting.
but I low.
But I get it.
A little
I
bit,
get it,
but
though.
It's because I worked hard for those things.
100%.
Right? And so when I first started this business, and literally like I don't even think I was working at the time, or if I was working, it was like odd end jobs or whatever, and I would like have to call my mom and be like, yo, I'm broke.
Man,
Like,
I'll
I
tell you.
legit have no money. She was, and my mom, I wish I could like imitate her African accent. I mean, she would get so mad at me, and she would just be like, I don't know what you're doing up there. You need to bring your ass back home. But like this was an
I could
African
imagine.
language. Like it
I
was
could
like
imagine.
it was like brutal, and like I would like legit cry, and I would be like, you don't understand what I'm going through, and this, that, and the third. And I just said, you know what? I don't care if you don't understand it. I'm still gonna do me, and I'm still gonna do this. And I literally had to remind myself and tell myself every single day
Still
that
to
I was
this
going
day.
to continue, and even still
To
to
this
this day.
day.
I mean, my mom's definitely 100% more supportive now, that she sees what's going on, and like, you know, I don't think it's that she never believed it. I
have to
think
see it.
She's my mother, so she's gonna care, and she's very concerned about whether I'm doing well. I
Agreed.
feel like parents are always more concerned about their kids than they are themselves, as they should be, right? But yeah, it was just it was very frustrating, because to have the one person that, like, you know, like, I love my mom to death. Like, anybody that knows me knows that when it comes to my family, like, that's like
Yeah.
my heart. You know what I'm saying? So for her to like just be so like, come back home, like, you don't need to be up there, and this, that, and the third. I was just like,
I want to
damn, am
touch on
really
that.
making this
Yeah.
right decision?
And I want to touch on that, like, as far as like being broke. And then you're right. You know,
Yeah.
like
And
in
we were broke,
essence,
and what's great is that we were broke together.
together. Yeah.
Every
And it-
literally broke together.
Yeah, and you know what, man, and I will say this, and you know, going back to my origins and being 10 years at the post office, making $60,000 a year, I was living an unsustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'll
I
be
think all of
completely
us were,
fucking
yeah.
honest. I mean, I've owned. In 10 years in the post office, I owned 7 cars. What the fuck am I doing owning 7 different cars? Not 7 cars at the same time,
Yeah.
but throughout the years, just changing and changing and changing.
Right.
And then you think about it, it brought no value whatsoever to
No, you're just
anything that I'm
basically
doing
blowing
now
money.
whatsoever.
Especially in New York City.
Especially in New York City. Are you kidding me? So like driving Cadillacs, driving Envoys, you know, driving these big, fancy, I guess, or whatever, you know, show-off cars. And it's just unsustainable. I gave all that shit up, you know, to pursue this career and to pursue something just bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger than this career, maybe. Because, you know, who's to say that we're going to stay in real estate 10 years from now? Who's to say that we're not going to blow up in
Yeah, we don't-
podcasting and everything else
we
like
don't know
that?
what's gonna
But we don't
happen,
know.
but-
You know, that's God's plan. But what I will say is I fucking love real estate. I can say I see
Definitely.
myself, you know, pursuing this career for a very long time.
Same.
But, you know, at the same time, you know, opportunities arise, industries change.
I definitely think we'll definitely be, you know, individually and as a team, I think that we're going to pursue other avenues of real estate, and maybe
Absolutely.
even outside of that. I mean, you know, you have a fashion company or a fashion line, you know,
Which is a
there's
passion.
you know, which is a passion of yours. I sing, you know, I love fashion. There's so many different things and so many different like avenues that we can.
And you don't
go
have to put yourself in a
into.
box anymore. That's what I love about this. Like, that's
about
one thing.
being an entrepreneur.
And that's
You don't have
one,
to do that.
yeah, agreed. And that's one thing that I feel like even 9-to-5ers need to start taking advantage more, is that you have these platforms that can, you know, essentially propel you to the next level doing what you genuinely love.
Right.
So like, you know, podcasting, I didn't think I was going to be doing this when I was in real estate. You know, I honestly thought that I would be going inside really nice apartments and condos, you know, taking pictures and selling.
Basically.
And you don't know anything about, I mean, shit, I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew anything about branding, I knew anything about marketing
you
or
had to
anything,
learn it.
the intricacies, like, you know, with just business in general and having different, you know, turning parts to have it work. Like you said, you know, essentially you're like, hey, I'm going to come into this and fucking do it alone, which is bullshit because
You can't
do it alone.
You can't do it by yourself.
You know,
at
any
all.
industry, I believe you.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
you
do.
definitely need a good team behind you. I mean,
Agreed.
shout out to Three Lens Media.
Yeah, by the way, the
you know,
guys behind the scenes,
yeah,
man. I'm going
like
to keep
you
on saying
gotta,
that.
Yeah, you gotta have a good team behind you. You have to have a good support system, and you know, there's gonna be trials and tribulations with that too. You know, because
Absolutely.
you know,
We don't see eye to eye all the time.
Right. What? Are you kidding me? Please, this guy right here. I'm a
Yeah.
single woman, okay, and I feel like.
Hey
I feel
man,
like,
I think if we're hungry,
You
we're
know?
out for the
You
same.
know what I'm saying? Like,
We're out for the same
drive me
vision
crazy.
minus the relationship,
I almost
guys.
feel like you might drive me more crazier than my own brothers. Like, seriously,
I
my
might.
headache.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, because
and-
they have a choice to deal with you or not. I
Right.
have to. We
Right,
have
right.
to
You
deal
know,
with each
and,
other.
and we want to make it work. I think that's what's most important, because you can easily just say, you know what, fuck it. Like, I don't want to do this. You know what I
Agreed.
mean? But I think we may come from different backgrounds, but we have the same vision. So I think we always remind ourselves that, and I think that's.
I like the
reason why
dynamic that
we're
we
still-
bring.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
you have
definitely.
you have ethnicity you have background in
And shit, we look good
entrepreneurship,
as a unit. What you mean?
suburban America, and then you
Hello?
also have like street, like
Yeah,
New York City. So you have a
definitely.
little bit of everything over
Definitely,
here,
definitely. And you know, honestly, like we have gotten to the
as
point
transparent
now,
as possible. As
Well,
too.
that's one thing for sure. But I feel like we've gotten to the point now where we're identifying very clearly like what our different roles are. Like
Absolutely.
I'm very like I try to be very like organized and very executing the deals and making sure that they go through and making sure that we're not like in some type of like shitstorm, you know.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the marketing, like anybody that knows me, I don't like to like I post and I'm like I do a little bit of social media, I touch on it, but I'm not a big fan of it. You know what I mean? Like because I'm just not that exposed. You know, we'll see how it goes down the line because this one's trying to.
I mean, it's going to open up. I
get
mean,
me to
dealing with
open
me,
up
you have
more,
no
but
choice.
you
This
know
is
what
where
I'm saying?
business is going, you know?
Yeah, and I get that, and I totally get that, and it just takes time because when you're used to a certain
Yeah,
thing,
absolutely.
you get stuck on that. But when it comes to like the marketing, like I mean, you're like obsessed with it.
I am.
Literally obsessed.
I'm genuinely
And
obsessed
I'm
with
glad
it.
that there's somebody within us that's obsessed with it because I'm so not.
It's a numbers thing, you know. Like I noticed that, like you said, numbers, and you like numbers, etc. And like when you get to view these analytics and who's checking you out and who's checking out the brand, it's enjoyable for me. I want to see. I want more comments. I do. I want
Yeah.
more from the audience to tell us you guys suck or what we're missing or whatever the case may be.
I wish
Listen,
y'all
I'm
would.
thick-skinned.
No, I'm joking.
No,
I'm
listen,
joking.
man, I'm thick-skinned. I'm cool with that. Listen,
I'm all about. Look, I'm all about feedback.
absolutely.
Sometimes for me it can be hard to I tend to sometimes come off defensive if I don't agree with something, but I'm also
That's
the type of
hunger and
person-
passion as well.
Yeah, but also too after I think about things and I rack it in my brain, I definitely listen to what people have to say. So I'm all about feedback and whether it's negative, positive, whatever, because I feel like that's what helps you grow as a person.
agreed.
So yeah, bring on the comments.
Man,
Let's go.
hey, agreed, man.
Ready for it. But yeah, this business is it's not easy. So anybody that's coming into it, anybody that's starting a business, period, it's not, you're going to cry a lot more than you're going to be happy. But stay passionate, stay hungry. If that's what you're about. And if it's not, move on to the next thing. Don't stay stuck in it because you feel like, oh, I've spent a year doing this. I got to keep going. I put all my eggs in one basket. No. If it's not for you, walk away from it and try something else because you're just going to be wasting your time. I felt like that when I did nursing school. I wasted, in my opinion, a year.
Yeah, I took
of my life.
paramedics for like 2 months.
But
Like
paramedics is like a
Yeah, it's
certified,
certified, yeah,
So you
yeah, it's
can leave
deliverable
that
and, like-
come back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nursing school, you're actually
You're in
like
there.
in school again and you're doing clinicals and they're
And
like
don't they work like
hours.
12, 14, 16
Yeah.
hour shifts? It's
And
sick.
for me, the whole like that whole idea of like working like 3 and shout out to all the nurses. Like I have good
Yeah,
friends
shout
that
out to
are
all the
nurses.
nurses.
Like, what they do is like real. I respect doctors and nurses because what they do, what they see. I mean, it's
Definitely
not
what they
for
see.
everybody.
It's definitely what
not
they
for
see.
everybody.
That's why I walked away
'Cause
from the
I've seen some
paramedic
things.
situation. I mean, I heard a couple of stories and I was just like, am I?
I'm too
Can I
emotional
see
for that.
this?
I'm
Can
too
I
emotional
see
for
that?
that. I would cry every time.
Yeah. I couldn't see anything happen to children. That's just me.
I'm
you know
telling
what I mean?
you, children
And-
or older people. Like I worked in a nursing home where it was an old nursing home, and seeing like these older individuals just in pain.
Have you ever talked to them?
Back when I was in nursing school, you weren't really allowed to like,
Gotcha.
be
Okay.
alone and have conversations with them. But you
'Cause
can
I'm
tell they're-
intrigued by
I
it,
feel
like,
you can
sometimes if you
kind
get
of, like,
experience from
feel
them.
that they're very sad. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of them are happy, but the ones that are going through pain, they're very sad, and a lot of them can't even express it. So it's like, ugh. Now, imagine seeing that on a daily basis with children and just people in general.
And carrying that
Can't do
home
it.
with you. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't do
agreed, man. That's
I
too
couldn't
much
do
for
it.
me.
So, I mean, in essence, when I really think back at it, I'm like, I'm kind of glad I got kicked out or that I failed out. Like, at least that was like my out, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I might have like wasted the money, but like that was my out. Instead of me like just dropping out and then like now I have to hear from my family like, oh my God, what happened? But yeah, so everything works out and everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that.
I
'Cause
definitely
was
believe in
not
that.
happy. I wasn't even sad when they told me I failed. I was just sad that I had to tell my mother.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. When they told me I failed, I was just like, oh shit, yes.
Nah, man. Listen, the day that I found out that I passed the postal exam, and I said this before on previous. I think we did an interview with DTF Radio or something like that, and I had mentioned, I retired from the post office like 2 weeks before I had to take my state exam, or a week before I state exam. One of those two. And for me, it was just the psych behind it. It was the whole like, fuck this, I want to go for it. I genuinely like had to almost in essence gas myself that I believed in myself that much. Even if I didn't, a little bit I had a doubt, It's scary. It's a scary thing. But I tell you that Saturday morning when I opened my eyes, I ran to the laptop. Ran to that shit. And it was in the living room, and I opened it, and when I tell you my heart was like beating 100 million times per second, and I opened it and it said passed. I yelled out like no other.
It was a great feeling.
It felt amazing. Are you kidding me? Like I felt like I just graduated.
Right. I think we had this conversation a while ago where I had mentioned that like I'm not a good test taker. Like I don't do well on tests, and we both like.
You shitting me?
Like
I'm the same way.
And to like just go through the licensing, take the test, and pass both first time. That never happens to me, by the way. Like I'm the type of person that has to study above and beyond, and still, sometimes get an A, or sometimes just be average. You know what I'm saying?
I'm okay with just passing. All right, I just passed in high school.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's just also because I'm just also not a school person. Like, I'm just not into it. I like to learn, but not in like such an enclosed setting, right? So
I think learning has changed too. That's just,
the way people learn.
The way people learn. The way I learned this industry was different.
Like even now, the kids in school, like the way the teachers are kind of like teaching these kids, I feel like, damn, why didn't they do that when I was in school?
Well, select teachers, because not all teachers. But shout out to the teachers though. We still love y'all. We still love y'all. But some of y'all boring as hell. It's cool. But nah, for me, man, listen, when I was in that, because I'm a shitty test taker as well, man, the first 5 questions I couldn't fucking answer. I was sweating.
Yeah, I was so nervous.
Sweating. Like my palms were sweating. And I'm like, fuck. And I took a deep breath and I was like, God, please guide me through this. I just quit 2 weeks ago. If I go back, I genuinely don't know what I'm gonna say.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I took the the school approach. Oh, skip it and come back to it.
Right.
Fuck it. I skipped it and came back to it. Yeah, Pixie. I did not know that shit. But I mean, I
depending on what class you were taking.
Yeah. So I went back to it, and man, but that was scary as fuck.
Yeah,
man.
For me too.
Test taking,
and then we had to take 2 tests, so.
You took 2 tests?
Yeah.
Was it 2 tests?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, it was 2 tests. Yeah, you're right.
And then you
have
to
take
the classroom test.
The classroom test, yeah.
And
you're right.
they generally say take the
The classroom test was easy, though. I mean, maybe because I didn't think of nothing of it.
They used to psych you out and be like, oh my God, the classroom test is harder. But I definitely agree with you. It's definitely easier and it's very similar to the state test. So, if you take
I didn't take that into account. I killed the fucking school test. But I also thought that the school test really didn't matter. I'm like, you needed to pass it. But I'm like, fuck it, if I pass it, I pass it.
Right.
I killed it.
Yeah.
And then when I got into the state exam, I was like, fuck. This is like the real
you took
deal.
That first. Yeah, I did it reverse.
You did it reverse?
I did the state test first.
What?
That's what they said. They said take the state test first.
Oh, because they expecting you to fail. That's why they want you to come back to class.
Forget them.
Think about that. Like, why would I take state before I take my practice?
Well, they were saying that it's easier than the school test. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take the state test first. So I did that, and then it was very similar to the school test. So it worked out the way it needed to. But, we thank God.
Yeah, no, hell yeah.
But yeah, no, not a good test. I don't do tests very well unless I'm very interested, and I think I was genuinely very interested in real estate.
So what intrigues you? What would you say intrigues you the most in real estate? Now let's go into our industry. Enough about us, right? Let's go into the industry a little bit, and obviously talk about our stories and clients, maybe, and not necessarily have to say names, but what intrigues you the most? Aside from meeting clients and relationship building, because for me that's what that is. I enjoy meeting clients, I enjoy the relationship building, but I also enjoy real estate itself, like the details, buildings, the history behind it.
I think it's all of that.
The interior decorating. I'm into all that shit.
I think it's all of that, and I don't think we've gotten to a point yet where we've kind of dived into like the intricacies of like real estate, like the actual properties. As of right now, like for me, it's really just the clients. I'm very passionate. I hate to say it, but I'm really passionate about people. And
I could tell.
I'm starting to notice that about myself.
You take a little things too much personal too.
I do. I really, really do. Especially if I care. When I care, that's
Agreed.
when it's like a problem. And I'm starting to notice that about myself because I used to be like, oh, I don't like people. Like I don't want to be around people.
You know,
But
like,
I'm
we say
opposite.
so closed-minded shit when you're younger. You're like, how did I say
but
that?
I'm so opposite of that. I'm so opposite of that. So for me, like he knows, like you know, like whenever I work with clients, like
Yeah,
I'm like,
she
if
goes
that's
all
our
the way
client,
in. Yeah, all the way in
like,
for you. She will.
Don't fuck with them.
Yeah, no,
it's
I
gonna be a
agree, man.
problem.
It has
like,
to be.
I will literally have your head. You know what I'm saying? So, so for me, it's really just about like the client and getting them what they want, you know, and making them happy. When I talk to clients and I follow up with them, and we keep in contact with our clients, you know, pretty often, or at least we try to. I'm always happy to hear when they say they're happy.
Agreed.
Like when they're first like.
So when
text
you're out
message,
with them, you
whatever.
don't feel like you're selling. Like for me, I
No,
you know,
not at
it's
all.
crazy because
Not at all.
when I take, you know, clients
never
to
sell a client,
yeah,
honestly.
I don't
Never.
sell anything.
No.
And I say that as well. Like when I'm with a client and I'm showing them a place, I'm giving them the details of it.
I'm giving them my
but
opinion,
aside
sure,
from
but-
that, I'm genuinely just talking to them.
Yeah.
You know, seeing what do they want out of it, what do they need out of New York City,
I
and
feel like
etc.
I always get to a point with clients that they always will ask me for my opinion because they get.
Well,
they
you're the
get to trust
professional.
me. Exactly.
Shit,
they get to trust me.
they should
but
trust
I feel
you.
like that's how it should be, right? It shouldn't
Absolutely.
be you trying to like, especially with like a buyer. If you take a buyer out and the first apartment, you're like, oh my god, it's so gorgeous, but then you're trying to basically sell them on it. And remember,
Yeah.
you work for the client, right? So
They're making that
really,
decision.
Yeah, really, you should let them
They're
make
making
that
that
decision.
decision.
And then when they make that
Good.
decision, then you kind of come back and you like. You
The
know,
numbers
review
have to
of
make
yeah,
sense.
everything has to make sense, not just the numbers, but also like what they may or may not be
Expectations.
gaining, their expectations. It's always about meeting the client's expectations.
Absolutely.
Always. So yeah, for me, it's
If
I'm
they're
just
realistic
very
as well.
transparent, like, and I can always tell I'm very good at reading people's body languages, or at least I'd like.
You
to
are.
think
You
so.
have said that.
So-
You said that in a couple of meetings as well, and I'm
I
like, I didn't
mean-
see it. And
I
I'm more of an
mean, let me
energy
tell
vibing
you.
person. I
Let me
don't. I
tell
can't
you.
tell body language.
I've walked into some units and literally I will look at my client, see their face, and I'm like, thank you for your time to the broker. Like, I'll let them do their little spiel. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, but we're gonna go ahead and head out. Let's not waste our time. I can already
Agreed.
read it all over your body that you're not feeling this place.
You hate it.
And as soon as we walk out, that's literally what the conversation is about. I'm like, okay, yeah, I already know. Like, because I can see it. Your face was just like, so I'm not going to have you, you know, do a whole entire tour.
Agreed.
Out of respect for the broker, yes, I'll let them do their quick little spiel, but I'm going to cut it short because this
It's
is a
just
waste
not
of our
gonna
time
work,
and it's a waste
yeah.
of the broker's time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, agreed.
So, but yeah, I'm pretty good at like reading people and like just reading their responses and making sure like, you know, I'm
What would
basically
you-
hearing everything.
Yeah. What would you say you dislike about the industry the most?
I'd probably say the other side. So not necessarily like the client side, right? Because clients are they can get very emotional depending on like what the price point of it is and all of that. But like when it comes to like working with like the other side of the deal. So whether
Agreed.
it's the broker or like the managing agent, like people that you feel like, do you all not want to get this deal done? And then they make it very difficult. That's, I feel like what I'm starting to like, or
Get a
like
little
what I have-
frustrated with?
Yeah, I get frustrated with it, but you also have to
It's just part of
understand it's part of the business. And at the end of the day, like a seller's broker, you know, their obligation is to the seller, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're going to do their job as the broker for the seller and make sure that they get their seller the most money or whatever. But it's not even really just that. It's all around. Like it can even sometimes be attorneys, especially if it's not one that you referred or one that you have a relationship with. And you know your client is the one that referred them, or
Yeah.
your client is the one that's using them, and they're not really working with you the way that you need them to. So that's probably like what I would say.
Other than that,
I mean, other than that, I mean, there are other things.
It's
that are
always little
frustrating.
things. Yeah,
It's always
little frustrations.
things, but that would probably be like the most frustrating. You know,
Yeah.
deals happen, deals die. I mean,
yeah, I try not to. I mean, I can't say there's one thing that I dislike. I mean, I can say that, you know, like you said, you know, the frustrating parts is like, you know,
Yeah.
gotta go through this person to get it done. But
Right, exactly.
other than
It's
that,
going
is
through
just
someone else to get something
yeah,
done.
because you
I'm
know
just like,
your work
go ahead.
ethic,
Yeah.
but you can't push your work ethic on anybody else. So I totally 100% get that.
I think I
part.
was just telling you the other day, like people have certain people that have certain jobs, right? You have one job, and my friend actually, she uses this quote all the time. She's like, "You have one job, just do that one job, okay? Like don't make
It's almost
it
like
difficult."
football,
And I
yeah,
love that
just
she
do
uses
your
that
job.
because, I mean, she says that all the time, and it makes me laugh because I'm just like, you have one job to do. Just do your one job. That's it. And
Hey,
do it
man,
well.
I agree.
Do it well because that's how I work. That's my work ethic. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, I agree.
So
But yeah, no, that's what's up, man. I mean, I guess I don't know if you have anything that you want to share with your audience. You know, I mean,
I'm not technically being interviewed right now. But
no,
let's talk about-
not at all, not at all. This
No,
is just
joking,
genuine
joking.
conversation.
I was gonna say, I mean, but you know, let's talk about a little bit about how, like, you know, you kind of went from, even though you're really good at like the numbers thing, you're kind of like your thing with like marketing,
Okay.
and like how you're really obsessed with that, because let's just call it.
I did.
Very obsessed
I
with
got
that.
obsessed. Thanks to Gary Vee, I will say I got obsessed. I was introduced to him. I didn't know who he was maybe like a year and a half ago, and you know, just trying to figure out how can we get our names out there. I genuinely didn't know. You know, I don't have an entrepreneurship background. You know, but just I started the last 6.5 months, 7 months. I've started studying a lot more of his content, and just getting into the, I guess, the tech side of things, if you want to call it that.
Right.
You know, with the Facebook, Instagrams, the advertising, and everything that he preaches, pretty much. And little did I know, I actually love this shit. And the reason why I love it is because I get to now be creative. Right now, I'm no longer just, you know, pushing an ad of pictures on naked apartments or, you know, Street Easy
Right,
or
it's a
anything like
different-
that.
it's a different
Now I'm
lifestyle.
like getting to play around with acting. Not real acting, guys. I suck. But I'm just saying, you know, get to play around with that. I get to play around with skits. I get to play around with, you know, advertising and analytics and, you know, playing with the background stuff. And that's fun. It's fun for me. And it's, you know, like you said, I've become obsessed in getting the name out
Literally.
there and the brand out there. But I mean, and it's also understanding that this is where business is going. And
Right.
well, there's always been marketing and there's always been branding, but it's
it's a
being
different
done
kind
on
of
different
marketing.
platforms now.
Yeah.
And it's platforms that I understand. So being that I understand these platforms, I'm like, I'm going all in. Because like I have, again, this is now or never. This is also, you know, kind of going all the way back to the beginning of the real estate career, which is like, fuck this. We're gonna have to make this work somehow. This is
Right.
where business is going. And yeah, I'm all in. So, you know, being introduced to him, I related to a lot of the no excuse, you know, kind of deals. And I don't want to be a motivational person, but I want to inspire people, because I think motivation is just really surface. I can listen to a speech, you know, on YouTube and just get motivated for 30 seconds, or I can give my genuine story. You know what I mean? And that genuine
feel
story
like
is to inspire. It's not a motivation thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
dude,
not
like-
really into that anymore.
Yeah, and not only that, but I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. So it's still an inspiring thing, because like this motherfucker's not where he wants to be, but he's still working his ass off.
Right.
Like he's already there. You know, and that's, for me,
And
that's
always
huge.
make it look good, guys. Always make
Yeah,
it look
make
good.
the broke look
You know
good,
what I'm
'cause I
saying?
make broke look good, damn it.
We gotta make it look good. Don't just feel like because you're broke or you can't.
And,
I hate to say that.
excuses.
Word. Don't anybody get offended, but
No.
just, you know, make it look good, because I feel like we make it look good every day, or at least I try to.
But you know what though, you
it
don't
makes
need
me
money
feel
to
good.
hustle. I don't like, you know, yeah, okay, this cost stuff and this cost stuff, and yeah, I get that part. But you can make that stuff happen in a period of time. You don't have to start off with it. And I think that's where people get it fucked up. You know, they feel like they have to start off with a certain amount. And I was one of those people. Even before I left the post office, I was like, yes, silly me. I saved up like $5,000 and was like, yeah, this should hold me down for a little bit until I get this up and running. Yeah, nobody told me that this was gonna take 2-3 years.
Right.
You try to
That
squeeze out
5,000, right?
that shit went in like 6 months, guys. Word. But that's just real. You know what I mean? That's being uneducated. As far as not uneducated, stupid. I mean more uneducated in regards to entrepreneurship, what it takes to really,
yeah.
you know, hustle in this game. So no, I don't mean undereducated. Like, education, you can fucking get it on YouTube. Fuck that. Like that's 1 through 12. Yeah, you need it, but everything else, I can say, yo, dude, I googled everything, I YouTubed everything, I came across some, I guess online, Gary V's and the Tony Robbins, I guess if you want to call it that, but I don't know them personally. Yeah, I just don't know them personally, but I started reading a lot of content and changing the content that I consume too. I was, at one point, you watch TV and you're consuming anything. Now I'm to the point where I'm like, fuck this. If it's not sports or like Shark Tank because it's business oriented. Yeah, hell yeah. It's my shit. Aside from that, I don't really, consume anything else. I try not to consume bullshit. It just has to be some kind of.
You're always sending me, and I'm sure you send all your friends this, but he's always, I remember consistently for like a year, you would always send me like, like words of the day or
just things,
podcast stuff, Gary V stuff, Tom Ferry stuff, like just stuff to
sharing
like uplift and sharing it. And honestly, you need people like that around you, right? Because I wouldn't have.
I didn't have that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought to like even to this day you still do that. So I think.
Agreed.
I think once again going back to like having a support system and having like friends and family that you can go to and just people that you feel like you can kind of like either vent to, run business by, ideas by, whatever, like that's all a part of your team, right? So very, very crucial and very important.
Absolutely.
Just to touch on that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, look, it's not for everybody. We're not saying everybody go out there and
be a real estate agent. Fuck no.
Or be in business. You have to find out what your niche is.
I just feel like there's a lot more people not doing what they love.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that now that we have these platforms, test it. Like you could still,
And even if you're just doing it for fun, like it doesn't have to be.
You can do shit for free, and then all of a sudden it's like, you just blow up.
Because there's so much more I want to do, like even outside of like real estate. But you also don't want to get too distracted with like multiple things where you're
don't spread yourself too thin.
Exactly.
Agreed.
So, but stay tuned. There's a lot of things coming in the future,
a lot more to share. Definitely a lot more inspiration, and you're gonna get a lot more entrepreneurs in different industries here. It's not just only going to be about us, and that's what I kind of wanted this platform for that. So it gives the platform to highlight other entrepreneurs in different industries, not just what we do. This is our introduction to who we are, but the reasoning behind the J-Team Brand podcast was, to again highlight entrepreneurs. Give their stories. We had Just here. He was fucking awesome, sharing his DJ background and how long it took him to get his stuff.
And everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story. Every single person. Every single person. And we're here to highlight those and have a little fun and just kind of share our story and document as we go along. And
we also want to hear, we want to hear other people's story, people that we don't know. Like, feel free
to reach out to
us, contact us, subscribe, and just let us know what's going on with you. Like, if you want us to give you a look. We don't have a huge platform right now, but it's okay because we will eventually.
Let's share it.
But yeah, we want to share what it is that you're doing and put it out there because we all got to help each other.
I agree.
We can't do it by ourselves.
I agree. And then now you have options, right? So like now you could choose to listen to us. You could choose to listen to anybody you want, but
choose to listen to us.
Choose to listen to us. Fuck with us. We love you guys. All the support, everything, family members, all that. But yeah, thank you rocking with us, J-Team Brand Podcast. Wait, we got one more.
We got to talk about what we got going on for the month of March.
Oh yes. Before we go, let's put that out there. So we have our first time home buyers program, guys.
Big
coming up March 6th. And we're pushing this on every single platform. We want everybody to show up. We don't care if you're not buying a home, guys. We want you to understand the intricacies it takes to purchase real estate.
Yes.
And it's a big deal. Real estate is the number 2 wealth builder pillar in the world, aside from investing. So unless you're like a certified investor and your
part
shit.
Of investing too, so.
Yeah, it's part of investing. But, I think it's the easiest, industry to learn. Especially, when it comes to, again, home purchasing. I'm a big advocate with ownership. So please, March 6th, ownership. We're pushing that out there. Grand Street Settlement, 80 Pitt Street. You can find us on Eventbrite, J-Team Brand, First Time Home Buyers Program. We have the J-Team Brand podcast on YouTube and coming to all streaming platforms as well. And what else, man? What else are we sharing?
I mean, we'll definitely be sharing a lot more later on, but for those are the two main things that we have going on right now, and yeah, like everybody come through. It's very, very important. I have friends already that are kind of reaching out to me about coming, and
That's
I
awesome.
just think it's information that you need or you should want to know. And it's our first one, and we're excited to share it with you guys. And like
Super
I said,
excited. And if we look a little fucked up and unorganized, it's because we are.
I'm sorry.
We're learning this.
Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, nothing's perfect. I know it's fun.
But it's gonna be a good way for you to not only meet us as agents, but also too with attorney. We're gonna have an attorney there. We're also gonna have we're not gonna have a title person, but we're gonna have an attorney, and we're going to have
Lawyer.
a mortgage person there.
Yeah.
So and we'll talk a little bit about that on the next podcast or whatever. But yeah, I mean, come out, support, learn. There's gonna
And
be
stay
food,
tuned,
drinks.
guys. Stay tuned.
It'll be
J-Team
good.
Brand on every platform. Spotify
and
playlist
follow
coming up
us.
soon too.
Follow us on.
I'm going hard.
At
We going hard.
J-Team Brand.
Yes, J-Team Brand on everything. Everything. J-Team Brand on everything.
IG, Facebook.
Yeah,
everything.
IG, Facebook,
Snap.
J-Team Brand on everything.
Yes.
Literally. We're going to keep on saying that. All right, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.
It's easy to think you famous, it's harder to work for greatness. These kids nowadays give prevalence to the latest. So if the party start at 8ish, I'm coming like next Tuesdays. They like when your life's debated, they love when your life's degraded, they hate when your life's upgraded. See Harry post when debated, they see you when